time I heard about the topic of homosexuality was from Abuna Botros, who came from Egypt 2 years ago to give to the Family Ministry Program a course on homosexuality. He's expert in the topic. He works with a lot of people who are dealing with this problem. If you go to a secular counselor and you tell them, I have feeling of homosexuality, can you help me? They tell you, well, that's normal, you know? So nowadays, homosexuality is not looked at, or same-sex attraction is not looked at as something that needs help. And we'll talk about that. So there are so much politics about the diagnosis. As a matter of fact, if I am still practicing psychiatrist and somebody will come to me as a Christian psychiatrist needing help with homosexuality, there is no diagnosis now to put as homosexuality or same-sex attraction. So I can not get the insurance to pay for those visits. You follow me? So I have to find another diagnosis to put for the insurance to pay for. And we can find, I mean, you know, it's no big deal. But what I'm trying to say is there are so much politics nowadays about this diagnosis. When we go back to the history of psychiatry, the three great pioneers of psychiatry, Freud, Jung, and Adler, saw homosexuality as pathological to begin with, meaning something wrong with that person. Yet today, homosexuality is not to be found in the psychiatric manual. DSM, which is like the Bible of psychiatry, that's the book of all the diagnosis of psychiatry in it. When you open it, the DSM-5 now, you see it started to begin with 1, 2, 3, and now it is up to 5. You cannot find that word, period. So it is not found in the psychiatric manual of mental disorder. No new psychological or sociological research, pay attention to that, justifies this shift. Why? Why it used to be in the book and now it doesn't exist. Research did not settle the question that homosexuality is genetic or whatever, so people cannot do anything about it. It is pure politics that has stopped the professional dialogue. So when we look to the history, in 1952, the American Psychiatric Association, the American Psychiatric Association is the big association for all psychiatrists. And in their book, which is the DSM, Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorder, they listed homosexuality among the sociopathic personality disturbance. So it was part of personality problem. Sociopathic, meaning there is pathology for that person to be in the society, like antisocial, for example. So one of those was homosexuality. In 1968, the DSM-2 removed homosexuality from the sociopathic list, and they categorized it with other sexual deviation. So there was a chapter on sexual deviation, and under that chapter there was homosexuality, which is fine. It's just, you know, they moved the classification. This revised DSM classification considered homosexuality a problem only when it was incompatible with the person's sense of self. Meaning, if a person is homosexuality and he is happy with who he are, and is not causing him any conflict or any problem, then nothing can be done, more or less. So when I started my residency in early 80s, some of you are not born yet, right? We had ego-dystonic homosexuality. What does it mean, ego-dystonic? Ego is me. Dystonic, meaning it make me struggle, that I have those thoughts of being attracted to the same sex. So it was ego-dystonic homosexuality. I remember a gentleman who came to see me. He was in his early 20s. He was in college. Nice Christian American guy. And he was struggling with the thoughts that he feels attracted to the same sex. And he became even to the point of close to suicide because he felt this is against his belief system. So it was really making him in big agony and very distressed, and he came to seek help. And that's what we call ego-dystonic. You will not seek help unless if you are bothered by something. A thief will not seek help if they just don't think about it and there is no guilt whatsoever. And they continue like the left thief. You know, he didn't feel any guilt compared to the right one. So when you are distressed with something, that's when you seek help for. And that's why, you know, when we have a medical illness that causes symptoms, we go to seek help because of those symptoms. I have pain, I have indigestion, I have some problem. But because of the symptoms, I go and seek help. If that cancer in the colon is not giving you symptoms, that's bad news. Because when it starts giving symptoms, it's too late to really get help then. Is fatal. And the same thing for any psychiatric issue. Unless if the person is really hurting inside somehow, they will not seek the help. Same thing for same-sex attraction. So when the condition was compatible, that is meaning the man was comfortable with his homosexual thoughts, feelings, and behavior, homosexuality was not considered pathological then. So they have ego-syntonic. Ego-syntonic, the person is comfortable who he is, homosexual, lesbian, whatever. But the ego-dystonic, they are not comfortable, and that's why they seek help. When you want to refer somebody for counseling, it gets very tough because nobody wants to get close to politics, even in medicine. The American Psychiatric Association reversal of the diagnostic classification of homosexuality, Bayer in 1981 states the result was not a conclusion based upon an approximation. You know, he was saying that this was not a conclusion to exclude homosexuality from psychiatric diagnosis, but was instead an action demanded by the ideological temper of the times. Politics, pure politics. So the combined effect of the sexual revolution, they have resulted in an intimidating effect upon psychology. The problem with this is, if I don't put something as that need help as a diagnosis, then there is no research done, there are no studies done, and that's unfortunate. So what we rely on is books published years ago about homosexuality, because now nobody thinks that homosexuality is something wrong with it. You see how the world is changing? It's very scary. But the facts are, homosexuality or lesbianity, an official publication of the Institute of Sex Research founded by Alfred Kinsey and many others, they reported that only 10% of male homosexual could be termed as relatively monogamous. They have relationship with only one person. 10%. 90% they have multiple partners. So there is so much promiscuity in it. Additional findings shows that 60% of male homosexuals had more than 250 lifetime sexual partners. 250. And 28% of male homosexuals had more than 1,000 lifetime sexual partners. Unbelievable. Another startling fact is that 79% admitted that more than half of their sexual partners were strangers, one night stand. 70% of the Americans with AIDS are male homosexual or bisexual, meaning they can have a relationship with women or with men. 70% of people with AIDS. Another thing, gay teens, teenagers who are gay, are 2 to 3 times more likely to attempt suicide than their heterosexual peers. They account for up to 30% of all completed suicide among teens. It's very high. In 1989, suicide was the leading cause of death among gay, lesbians, bisexual, and transgender youth. And this is from the US Department of Health and Human Resources in 1989. 50% of lesbian and gay youth report parental rejection because of their sexual orientation. The family know, he is or she is same-sex attraction, so they distance themselves from them. In a study of gay male adolescents, 68% reported alcohol use, 26% reporting the use of alcohol once or more per week, 44% report using other drugs, 8% consider themselves to be drug dependents, 83% of young lesbians report alcohol use, and 56% report using other drugs. So uses of drug and alcohol and so on is very high among same-sex attracted people. Okay, this is just to get your attention. Now we start talking. So same-sex attraction, SSA, abbreviation. It represents 2 basic issues. Wounds that were not healed from the past, and legitimate needs for love that have not been unfulfilled. These 2 essential issues are resolved. Once they are resolved, a profound sense of internal change will occur and heterosexual desires will ensure. So if that person, those wounds get to heal and their need for love is accomplished, taken care of, then there is no need for the same-sex attraction. So what you will need to heal? What kind of things need to heal? Homo-emotional wounds stem from a breakdown in the father-son or mother-daughter relationship. See, everything goes back to the family of origin. Homosocial wounds originate in lack of peer bonding, boys with boys and girls with girls. In the process of healing, you will need to experience healthy, non-erotic, same-gender relationship. So instead of having a partner that the person is involved with sexually, they need that person but without any sexual involvement. They need somebody to love and care for, but without any erotic kind of involvement. So very important is bonding. Bonding with those who do not experience same-sex attraction. That is, those who have opposite sex attraction. OSA, opposite, compared to SSA, same-sex attraction. So this person is in need of that bonding with the same sex, but to be safe and without any physical involvement.